Welcome back. Well, April is Distracted Driving Awareness Month, and despite efforts to cut down on distracted driving, like state laws across the country, over 300,000 people were injured in distraction-related crashes in 2023. That's according to the NHTSA. And joining us now to explain how new technology is hoping to cut down on distracted driving is GM safety engineer Dan Glazer. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
You know, a lot of people, when they're on the road, they kind of have their phone next to them. Even if you have like the car mounted and you have it on your dashboard, you know, changing the radio station, just little things like that. Tell us the impacts that can have when you're doing something that distracts you from the road.
Right. So when we think about distraction, I think we need to get away from thinking about the thing itself, but rather what that thing makes you do, right? So the phone is kind of the mascot of distraction. And the reason that's the case is because when you look at it for a long time, and then you look forward for a short period of time in the back of the phone for a long period of time. And that tends to really increase risk. And so the phone can do this, or rubbernecking can do it, or even rummaging around the vehicle. So no matter what we're doing, we want to take a long on-road glance. And then if we're going to take an off-road glance, we want to make it short and then get our eyes right back on the road immediately.
And I'm glad that you kind of expanded that, because a lot of time when we think of distracted driving, it is usually the phone, but you mentioned so many other different distractions that are on the road. And so I know hands-free has been pushed a lot with the CarPlay I was mentioning earlier, where people are kind of at least have their hands free. But what other types of technologies are available just to kind of help people focus on just driving in that moment?
Well, there's emerging technology GM released in 2024 called Driver Attention Assist. And this actually uses a little camera on top of the steering column. And I don't want people to think that this takes video, because it definitely does not. But rather what it can do is identify if maybe the driver's about to fall asleep, so they're yawning and closing their eyes. Or if they're looking off the road too long, we can remind them to look back up. And so this real-time attention towards the driver and giving them what they need in the moment, I think has a lot of promise going forward.
That's pretty interesting there, that they're seeing that your eyes are kind of like getting sleepy or maybe distracted.
Mm-hmm.
But just testing that technology, what were the results that you all saw from that?
Well, we definitely saw when people were distracted, we were able to catch it and get their eyes back up. Having warnings does have a positive effect and leads to better eyes on road behavior. And certainly when we did our drowsy studies, people started to get drowsy. We did a lot of research to understand what drowsy looks like. We got very good at being able to detect when people were falling asleep. So if you have a loved one out there on a long road trip, it's nice to have this invisible person that can help wake them up when they're about to doze off.
Yeah, definitely promising seeing that technology emerging. And of course, right now we're entering the height of travel season as we go into summer, people taking the road trips and that type of thing. Any advice that you have for drivers just to kind of stay focused?
Absolutely. So I think we have this tendency to get into the vehicle and just immediately zip off. If we can get into the vehicle, buckle up, and think for like 40 seconds, what can I do while I'm in the vehicle, while the vehicle is stopped rather, that I don't have to do while I'm driving? You can make that drive a lot more relaxing. So that's getting your navigation, because it changes every day because of construction. It's making sure the kid in the back seat has a book, so they're not demanding something of you as you're going 70 miles an hour down the road. Getting that last text out. If you can do that while you're stopped, the drive actually becomes a lot more fun and you get there more safely. And if we can build in that habit, then you can be a lot safer driver, and then you can pass that habit on to your children.
Yeah, easy enough to do. Simple steps that we can all take. And Dan, thank you again for joining us. Lastly, just anyone who wants more information, what can they do?
Yeah, please go to gm.com. Also, you can go to our brand sites like chevy.com or buick.com, and we have lots of cool animations about our safety features.
All right, great information. Thank you again, Dan, for joining us. Alexis, we'll send it back over to you.